Spurs against Liverpool is the lunchtime kickoff, and it's looking like a good one. Is it going to be an instructive one as well, Danny?
I think it's... If you look at Liverpool, I think what they did great business in the summer. Not just the squad. I think they improved their starting 11, and what it meant is that players that were playing last season now ending up on the bench. So the bench has actually been proved to be stronger as well. And I think that's the difference. I think Tottenham, if you look at their starting 11, they're match for anybody. Yeah. But it's game changers coming off the bench. You know, I think that's a big thing. I think if we look at Spurs 2-1 down against Watford, they bring on Rose, Llorente and Davis, all good players, but not necessarily game changers. No. Liverpool go to Leicester 2-1 up, bring on Keita and Shaqiri when they're winning. You'd usually think that would be role reversal, wouldn't you? And that's a big, big difference, in my opinion.
Is it about them trying to break through a ceiling? Because of the standards that Manchester City have set, what are the limits on teams like Liverpool and Spurs? Well,
I don't know now. You say Liverpool's limits now, like Danny said, they've strengthened really well, and in every department, you have to say they're pretty strong. They're very strong, in fact. So you have to feel for Spurs simply because their first 11, of course, they are very good. But then you start to get into, even now people are talking about that Harry Kane might be tired. If he gets injured or he's out of the game for whatever reason, they rest him, it's kind of hard to find out where they're going to get those goals from to keep them up there. Whereas you see Liverpool, they've got goals from all areas up front. And midfield now, once Keita gets himself going, they've got goals in them. So you have to say, it's a game for me that Liverpool should be looking to be kicking on with. I think the Watford defeat for Spurs was one that Spurs should have tried to see if they could have got a draw out of it at least. That would be a good result against a really tough and intense Watford side, but they lost the game. They couldn't seem to keep Watford off of them. And Liverpool a different proposition in that respect. They're not losing those games, and they're winning games comfortably.
And the reason I mentioned City is because as much as any side below them tries to improve, what is success in a league which contains a team that have the best first 11, the best squad, the most money, a great academy?
Probably the only team in the Premier League as well that can lose De Bruyne and not necessarily miss him too much, which is incredible. You know, we don't actually talk about De Bruyne because he's not been, you know, obviously he's a big miss, but as in terms of the way that Manchester City play. But I think when you look at Tottenham, I think there's more pressure on them now this weekend because of what happened at Watford. People, the old question comes back up, doesn't it? You know, when the Tottenham fail in them situations again. I love the way Tottenham play. I love the starting 11. I think most of their starting 11 would get in the top 4, top 6 teams in the Premier League. But it's that strength in depth. And like Wright is saying, if you get an injury to Harry Kane, you know, at the moment, if you're looking to put a centre forward for centre forward, it's Llorente. And you know, he had a great time at Swansea, but he's not really got it going at Tottenham.
And then you look, you're hearing rumours like Lloris might not play this weekend, Dele Alli might not play this weekend.
He's been out for 7 weeks, Lloris, with a thigh injury.
Against this kind of team, you want your strongest and your best, and those two are. And if they're not playing, I think that's going to weaken them even more because, yes, Son's going to be involved, which does make a massive difference to them, but you'd want Son with the full side as well. So hopefully Son will come in and alongside Moro, who seems to be kicking in now. You know what I mean? Harry Kane can get himself. Then they can cause Liverpool problems. But remember, Liverpool, that back four, what they've got now with the goalkeeper, are miles stronger than what they were before. Miles stronger.
Are you surprised at how much the starting lineup has changed for Liverpool just in the space of a calendar year?
I think, like Danny said, off of the back of that Tottenham game, something had to happen because, like, people are starting to point a finger at Klopp and saying, when's it going to happen? You know what I mean? Everybody's loving Klopp and his histrionics on the sideline and the fact that the team can show this unbelievable, intense, like, counter-attack and blast teams away. But in that Tottenham game, they were actually torn to shreds. And mistakes were made in it as well. And I think, like you said, it made him realise, right, we've got to step this up. And they have. They've stepped it up. But
only 4 players remain from the team that started against Spurs. One of them, Coutinho, obviously no longer at the club, but the other ones, even the ones who aren't at the club anymore, will be there as a choice by Klopp rather than because they were tempted away in the case of Coutinho.
I think if you go back to when Klopp first came to the football club, I think probably October, November time, was it? when he came in. He got to January transfer window and everybody was saying, well, you know, he's going to go out and spend money now because this is what they need. I think he gave the players a trial period. We know the way that Klopp plays. He's never changed from when he was at Dortmund, obviously all the way through to now, and how he's doing at Liverpool. And I think what he gave himself was breathing space to say, right, OK, which players can come on the journey with me? And he slowly but surely, excuse me, got rid of the players that he didn't believe were good enough. And because he plays a certain way, when he brings players in, he already knows what their strengths are and how they're going to fit into the system that he plays, because he's got continuity. He's got an exact way of playing. Whether they go home or whether they go away, they play the same way. They'll play the 4-3-3. We know what the front three are capable of. The full-backs getting involved as well. And because he's got that identity, because he's had that identity ever since he was a manager, he knows exactly the attributes that he needs for certain players. And he's fixed the problem, what there was. And what he's done, which not a lot of the top teams have done, he's actually brought in players that have actually made the starting 11 stronger, whereas other players have brought in, other teams have brought in players that makes the squad strong.
And then you add the fact that Wijnaldum is having a great start to the season, Milner, great start, and Keita's just easing himself in. You know, they haven't even started Fabinho yet. So they've still got a lot in reserve as well. You feel like there's a lot more to come from Liverpool.
What about for Spurs? I mean, you were talking about the fact that they didn't spend the money to strengthen, but you don't think that there is much room in the starting 11. However, was there room to strengthen the squad at Spurs, and was there room to give them, like, how far away are they from being there?
Well, I think that, like we say, a couple of injuries. If Harry Kane gets injured, if Toby Alderweireld gets injured, if Dele gets injured, the goalkeeper gets injured, you know, they're gonna struggle, because in those positions, I'm not sure they've got players that can cover them well enough to keep them challenging a full force Liverpool, a full force Manchester City, and stay with them. I feel that, you know, for them saying that they didn't need anyone and they're happy with what they've got, I do believe that there were people in and around there. Like I still stick by the fact that, you know, someone like Mahrez, you know, of course it's going to be very difficult to try and get him away from Manchester City, because who wouldn't want to go to Man City? But I think that he's somebody that could have definitely gone to Spurs and made a difference, without a shadow of a doubt. 60 million. So there's players out there in that respect, and he's somebody that's going to, I think he's going to improve them. You know, but obviously he went to City.
I think, but the thing is, we know that Manchester City are in for him, obviously. If Tottenham were in for him, and I think this is the problem now, is that you look at Liverpool and the signings they made in the summer, they're better than what the players that they already had. So obviously them players have either moved on or have then gone onto the bench. If you look at Tottenham, you know, and it's been something that's been spoken about for so long, and it keeps getting mentioned, but you have to bring it out. If you're going to go and get a player that's going to be ready to go and going to be in that starting 11 for Tottenham, then the likelihood is you're probably going to go and have to spend 70, 80 million pounds, especially if we're talking about forward-thinking players. Now, a 70 or 80 million pound player brings 70 or 80 million pound wages. So you're not only saying, right, OK, we need this one player that's going to be the missing piece in the jigsaw, because what happens then? If you're the centre-forward, if you're Dele Alli or Harry Kane, you're Eriksen, you're going to say, well, OK, we've just bought this. We just spent this money on a player. Well, you know what? I want that money as well, and rightly so. So the problem becomes is not just one player coming in and breaking the bank for him for the transfer, but it's the wages and everything that comes with that. That's where the problem then comes. And we was thinking about it before. If you had a plain sheet of paper and said, right, OK, within reason, who could Tottenham bring in that would make that starting 11 better than what it is at the moment? Because I think the starting 11 is excellent. It's the players coming in, so you're never going to get a world-class player to sit on the bench. That's the problem that you
that's what I'm saying. I believe that, like I say again, I feel Mahrez is somebody that, for me, they should have been at least going for.
But if he went to Tottenham, who would you put him in the team instead of? I think that's where you have a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, but then the thing is, you say that, but like for me, with Manchester City, you buy Mahrez and you think to yourself, who am I putting him in the team instead of? And Sane hasn't started this season. You know, I think he's come on. You know, I don't think you can buy a player down and think, I'm going to buy him and I'm going to put him instead of Dele or Son or Moura now. I think that you buy that player and then that's up to that player and the rest of those players to perform, to say, well, I'm going to stay in, or this guy's going to take my position. You have to create that environment of people wanting to try and stay in the team, or people who are going to come in, who are going to have to get a chance at some stage. You have to do that. The point about the monies, everybody, you know what I mean? You've got the tide brings all the ships up. Is that the one, Kels? You know what I mean? The tide brings all the ships, raises all the ships. That's what's got to happen in respect to the monies that Tottenham are going to have to spend. But they do have to bring those people in because Liverpool, they've really put down a marker with the signings they've made. We know right from the start of the season, Liverpool will be challenging. And we've seen it up to this point, they are.
But I think if you talk about Mahrez and you gave him a choice between trying to break into the Tottenham team or trying to break into the Manchester City team, you would say, or you should say, that it's going to be easier to break into the Tottenham team. But if someone then turns around to Mahrez from Manchester City and goes, listen, you may not play every game, but you know what? You'll win a Premier League title. We're going to go really far in the Champions League because we want to win that. Is that something then that's going to attract a player? So a player, he may play, I don't know, he may play 40 games or 45 games for Tottenham, but Mahrez may go to Manchester City and play 30 games. But at the end of it, he may have a Premier League winners' trophy, he may have a Champions League winners' trophy. Is that something that would then even it up as in terms of him going to that football club? Because he knows at Manchester City...
What about Wilfried Zaha?
He is a player that we've spoken about before, and he's a player that did interest Tottenham, and I'm amazed. Crystal Palace have done unbelievably well to keep him. We've spoken about that before.
I don't want to say, like the Palace fans are probably saying, "Oh, mention Wilfried," but the fact is,
he signed a new contract.
And I'm really delighted about that for Palace and Stevie Parish. But I'm talking about, yes, we know that they were in and around him, but I think that Wilfried Zaha, again, like Mahrez, if you're able to bring in two players like that, they're gonna do something to a team like Tottenham. You're going to be looking at Tottenham and thinking, wow, that's two good signings from the creativity side.
But I think if you look at the Liverpool team, so we've spoken about the fact of Liverpool bringing in players that were going to improve the starting 11. I think when we got to the summer, even when we got to January, I think that if us three were to sit here, we would have said, right, Liverpool are going to go and sign X, Y and Z. And if we were to name our starting 11, we would probably not be far off getting it right as in terms of this player's probably going to be on the bench. Players know that the time's coming to an end, or they know that their time in the first team's coming to an end. Whereas Tottenham, I don't think you look at any player and think to yourself, you know what, yeah, he's going to spend a lot of time on the bench. There's not many players at Tottenham because they're so used to playing in that starting 11 that will deal with a bit part place within the squad. And I think that's a problem that Tottenham have because, like I say, I think the starting 11 is good enough to challenge any other team in the Premier League.
It's a good point, Dan.
It's when you're looking for the X factor coming off the bench. You know, can you have a player that can come off the bench that can make a difference when a game is tight and 1-1 or 0-0?
Because when you look at someone like Danny Rose on Tottenham's bench, you think to yourself, he should be playing, really. And if he's at his best and fit, you'd say he should be playing. But then you look at everybody else and you're thinking to yourself, well, yeah, probably Lamela is kind of bench Sissoko. You know, those are kind of players
Do you need
see
to look
on
at
the bench.
Dele Alli as well? Not in terms of his talent, but in terms of the level of his performances.
But I think
I know he's not available for the game against...
Yeah, but I think that, you know, Dele's somebody that people constantly will pick him out as, well, oh, yeah, he's not performing well at the moment. But I think that you have to be playing in a certain way. I think you have to go back to the Chelsea game. Remember last season when he nicked those 2 goals and played well against Chelsea? He's somebody that, when you're retaining the ball and you're playing at a pace and you can keep the ball and build up, he can then make those runs and get into the box. At the moment, we're not seeing him do that a lot. He can't do it with England. We haven't got that player who keeps the ball long enough and we can link up play so Dele can say, right, while he gets it, now I can try and go and make my run, get in the box, score those headers or arrive in the box late like we used to see Frank Lampard do. At the moment, I think that Dele's having a problem with getting that side of his game going now, whether that's because he might be not on good form or that ball is not coming or they're not playing as well as they should be. We'll have to wait and see. But he is somebody that at some stage this season, he will find his form and he'll score his goals.
It's really frustrating when you're looking at these players and all the question marks start coming out about them. Is he going to be this player or he's not really that good? I'm just like, that's lazy. That is really lazy. Let's have a look at it for what it is. Dele Alli burst onto the scene, had a phenomenal couple of years. He's still a very young player. Young players have their ups and downs, and that's what he's going through at the minute. He'll rise again and he'll be absolutely fine. But I think what what we tend to do is try and look for something, to try and find something that's not actually there. Yeah. It's a human being, it's a player that's having a little bit of a quiet spell at the moment. That's all it is. And like Wright, he said, he'll come strong again and probably be better than ever. And young players, you've got to be patient with them and just give him the time that, yes, he had a fantastic start to his career, but, you know, he's having a little bit of a low time.
And he'll get
moment.
that at Tottenham. That's what's good about Pochettino. Pochettino really backs him.
We talked about this game as potentially being a marker for where these teams are in terms of how their season is going to pan out. If you were to go into the Liverpool dressing room, if you're going to go into the Spurs dressing room, which of them do you think would have the most belief that they maybe will, but can win the Premier League title?
Liverpool. Remember, I tipped Liverpool, Kels.
I know you did tip
Liverpool. So, you know what I mean? I'm going to say Liverpool, and I will continue to say that because of the way they've strengthened, and up front, they're just as good, and if not better. You know, Mane started the season very well, and I don't even think that Salah has kicked into... Well,
how many times? Call him Mo.
Mo. Yeah. I don't think that Mo has kicked in properly yet. Firmino. I think that there's so much to come, and they know they're just easing into it at the moment, and it's going to be very exciting. I think that you go into that dressing room, and it's a game that they will believe that they've got to be winning, or at least definitely not losing Liverpool.
I think it's a game that suits Liverpool. I think Liverpool, obviously, going away, one of the best counter-attacking teams in Europe. Yeah. The onus is on Tottenham after the result against Watford. Yeah. So I think Liverpool will be comfortable in saying, right, OK, you can have the ball, Tottenham, but we know when we win the ball back, we're going to get at you. And Tottenham are going to have to be quite expansive because they do need to get the win.
Go on, then, who are you going for this weekend?
I'm going to go for Liverpool, 3-1.
I'm going to go for Liverpool as well, but I'm not going to do a score.
I don't want to play a game. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.